Hi, I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president. We just experienced the 60th anniversary of John Kennedy's peace speech at American University, where he threw the gauntlet down to the national security establishment and announced that he was going to bring an end to the forever anti-Russia hostility that the national security establishment had inculcated in the American people, and he was going to move America in a totally different direction. He was deemed to be a threat to national security, and he was taken out a few months later in Dallas. To his credit, Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is openly and publicly acknowledging this. His Democratic opponent, Joe Biden, and the Republican presidential candidates, deep down they all know this to be the truth. But they're too scared of the national security establishment to be doing what Kennedy's doing. However, there are two weird things about Kennedy's position that need to be noted. Number one, notice that he never calls for the abolition of the CIA. I've certainly never heard him call for the abolition of the CIA. And on his campaign website, he's got a list of 6 or 7 priorities for his campaign and his presidency. Not one of them mentions abolishing the CIA. This is one of the most evil agencies in the history of the world. MK Ultra, Nazi-like experiments on medical experiments on American citizens, state-sponsored assassinations like Operation Condor, indefinite detention, torture. There's only one way to deal with an evil agency like that, and that's eradication, dismantling, abolishment. The other weird thing is that Kennedy gives a pass to the military. The military was up to its eyeballs in this assassination. We know this from the fraudulent autopsy that the military conducted on the very evening of the assassination. Fraudulent x-rays, fraudulent photographs, 2 different brain exams involving 2 different brains. All this was established by the Assassination Records Review Board in the 1990s. You see, the problem is that despite Kennedy's courage, and let's give credit where credit is due, in openly and publicly acknowledging this state-sponsored regime change operation, he still buys into this notion of the national security state, just like Biden, just like Trump, DeSantis, and all the rest of them. In fact, he needs the military-industrial complex to man his fortress walls that he wants to establish around America. And he obviously believes, like his uncle, John Kennedy, that if he just gets the right man running the right person running the CIA, that everything will be hunky-dory. Well, it won't be. This is a cancer on the body politic that needs to be eradicated. Now, there's another fascinating aspect to this thing, and that's Senator Frank Church. Church was a Democrat, like Kennedy, and a fierce opponent of the Vietnam War. And the Pentagon and the CIA vilified him. They called him a coward, an appeaser, a Neville Chamberlain, a traitor, all the standard Cold War nonsense. But Church held his ground. But what was fascinating about Church, according to a new biography on him by James Risen called The Last Honest Man, Church achieved a breakthrough that enabled him to see that getting out of Vietnam was not the ultimate solution. Because he said the real root of the problem is the national security state governmental apparatus. And that as long as we have a national security state, we're going to have this endless series of forever wars. And he certainly has been proven correct. Now, what does this have to do with Kennedy? Well, Church was a good friend of President Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. In fact, Church's wife was a godmother for one of Robert Kennedy Jr.'s sisters. But unfortunately, Church obviously did not impart this wisdom and this insight to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., leaving him believing and favoring the national security state way of life. As I have said over and over again for the past umpteen years, and which I'm going to continue saying, there is only one way to get this country back on the right track. The track of liberty, peace, prosperity, and harmony with the people of the world. And that is to dismantle this alien form of governmental structure, this dark side structure, and restore our founding governmental system of a limited government republic. I'm Jacob Hornberger, Libertarian candidate for president. My campaign website is jacobforliberty.com.